Hey guys, welcome back to Digit.in, and today we are reviewing the new Realme One smartphone. We already did the unboxing for this new smartphone and it's already live on our channel, so feel free to check it out. So without any further ado, let's proceed to our review. Starting with the design, the Realme One looks distinctly different from the other phones at its price, thanks to the diamond-like reflective body. The phone is housed inside a fiberglass casing that has been cut at different angles such that each section of the glass back turns to a different shade of black when light is reflecting off it. It does look a lot like a diamond. The front is all screen. There are no capacitive navigation buttons on the front. There's no fingerprint scanner on the phone either, and the phone solely relies on facial recognition. The face unlock is quick, but isn't reliable enough to keep the user's data secure. In a more practical scenario, the phone was very easily unlocked by a colleague of mine by simply pointing it at my face from a distance. Apart from the diamond black finish, the screen takes up most of the real estate up front. The screen to body ratio is around 84%, which Realme managed to do so by fitting the usual 6-inch display in a smaller 6.14-inch frame. The standard 6-inch Full HD Plus display has an 18:9 aspect ratio. The panel is just about average with decent color reproduction. The color tones are slightly on the cooler side and brightness isn't high enough to be visible properly when outdoors. You get the usual blue light filters and options to tweak the color temperature. The good part about the panel is that it takes up most of the real estate up front with minimal bezels on the top and the bottom. Now talking about the performance, the smartphone runs on the Mediatek Helio P60 chipset and is available in 3 RAM and storage variants: 3GB and 32GB, 4GB and 64GB, and the 6GB and 128GB. Now the 3GB and the 6GB variants are going to be available from next week, but the 4GB and the 64GB will be available from June. So while testing the performance of the chipset, I observed an anomaly. It seemed for both the benchmark tests, the CPU was running at its peak speed of 2 GHz irrespective of the load put on it. Even when the load was less than 20%, all the cores were clocking the max speed. Now, it could either be an anomaly with the unit I received, or Realme is trying to game a popular benchmark test. Now, we perform a similar analysis on the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which proved to be more consistent both in synthetic benchmark tests and the real-world scenarios. The phone relies on Oppo's Colored OS layered over Android Oreo 8.1, but I would not call it particularly appealing. It lacks the attention to detail that MIUI is known for, or the simplicity of stock Android. Instead, the UI seems cluttered with disproportional icons and overall looks quite cartoonish. It does come with a game mode, a private space, and the usual bells and whistles of Android Oreo, but that doesn't take away the fact how uninviting the UI looks for a nitpicking user. Talking about the camera setup, the Realme One has a 13-megapixel primary camera and an 8-megapixel selfie camera. The Realme One uses Oppo's AI algorithm, which helps in fine-tuning the pictures. But the end result is simply a photo with extreme layers of softening, so much so that all spots and blemishes are hidden. It was a tad difficult for me to accept the effects, but I suppose there's a demand for this amongst the consumers. In daylight, the photos have ample highlight clipping. There's practically no detail in the bright sky. Now, furthermore, the camera tends to saturate the colors more than they are in reality. It also lacks the desired dynamic range. Indoor shots are a little bit more polished. The control light brings out the good side of the camera. There's more controlled AI enhancement, and the little that it does, it makes the objects look much better than they are in real. You get good sharp images with a slightly warmer white balance. There's some glare off the source of light though, which might be a lens issue. Under low light, the camera fails to show much promise. Grains show up if you try to dial the exposure higher to take an image under poor lighting with little to no detail. The shutter speed is actually dialed up when there's less light, which demands a steady hand, and if the object is moving, you get a blurred photo. The portrait mode is present both on the front and the back camera. The Realme One relies on software to simulate the depth of field effect. It's nowhere as consistent as the Redmi Note 5 Pro, but it does the job as far as blurring the background is concerned. Finally, the Realme One has a 3410 mAh battery. The phone managed to run for 6 hours on the PCMark Battery 2.0 test, which should easily convert to over a day's usage for an average user. For the review, I used the phone to browse the internet, play games, take photos, and use social media. It did last me for a typical workday and then some more. The battery section in the settings app gives some insight in how much juice each app takes, and apart from the resource intensive game I was playing, the UI sucked up most of the battery. So overall, the Realme One does have good looks, but there are way too many inconsistencies. It tries to get ahead of the game by trying to game the synthetic benchmarks, but in real world performance, it kind of falls flat. It also tries to be a selfie-centric phone, but the selfies from this phone comes off as quite artificial and puffed up. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you really liked it, don't forget to leave your comments down below. And for more videos like this one, please subscribe to Digit.in.